Up, 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 up. Hello and welcome to anyone watching this past, present, or future. And welcome to another installment of Pan asking, what is this sorcery? And just trying to rework some really old UA content and make it into some decent stuff. Hey KB, how you doing? How are you doing? But yeah, so tonight, like, okay, so like when I was initially looking over some of the old UA sorcerers, right? Because sorcerer's the class that needs a lot of reworking. I'm really glad that the UA for 1D&D is being so generous to sorcerers because they need every little bit of food. But like back when Xanathars was gonna be new, oh buddy, they were rough, and they still kind of are. But this was the one. This is the one that really scratched my brain of like, I can fix you, I can make you better. Was the Stone Sorcerer, which, so how they took the other sorcerers for the elements, right? Because they made 4 sorcerers for all the elemental planes, and they only really committed to Storm, which they sort of decided was like a more mobile spellcaster. That was kind of like their big appeal. They're very mobile with the ability to sort of fly whenever they cast spells and also get out of danger. Also to help maybe with travel if you're on sea or with weather encounters with travel. Having some additional damage as well as eventual group mobility with having everyone fly. But then we got the Phoenix Soul. Was like, okay, definitely DPS, which makes sense because it's fire. They want to be as high damage put out damage as possible because, like, of course, maybe some sustainability. Okay, Sea Sorcerer is a bit weird, but it was essentially at first curses and then actually more defensive, more survivability. But like not much anything else. It was kind of like cool premises, not great execution. But Stone Sorcerer is the most interesting because it's the very bold idea of making a caster, a D6 caster, into a more martial caster or martial character, despite the low hit dice. And that's a really interesting challenge that I kind of want to see what I can do with it. So, I will open the interwebs so we can see the vastness. First, we gotta go to the Pokemon damage calculator because, you know how it is. Oh, I should probably get rid of Magic Pan. Magic Pan, get out of here. I unsummon you. Yeah, here's the Phoenix Soul and Sea Sorcery stuff. If you want to check any of that out, you could always go into my Discord, which I'm shilling more now because Twitter is on fire. Gotta see how much damage Charizard will do to our Sorcerer. Are you saying this because you're just gonna throw Charizard into the mix? You're throwing a Red Dragon. Oh, wait, I get it. Oh, it's funny because Charizard's a fire flying type. And he's 4 times weak to rock type moves. Oh, I was almost a dummy, but I'm super smart. I'm like really smart. Stop saying I'm done. I'm not dumb. I'm not stupid. You're stupid. I'm smarter than you. Tim Robbins, I think you should leave. No. Oh. I see, KB. I see. Alright, we'll make it bigger. So we all know it's Stone Sorcerer. And let's see what Stone Sorcerer has to work with initially. So, Stone Sorcerer is something. So, right off the bat, we get proficiencies with shields, simple weapons, and martial weapons. So, we can get a bit more AC, which is good. And we have DPS options for physical weapons, which is really cool. You know, you could have your sorcerer playing with sword and shield here, which is, alright, pretty cool premise, pretty cool pitch if I am in the baseball. Additionally, we have more spells with metal magic, which honestly, really cool way to call it. Your affinity for metals gives you the option to learn some non-sorcerer spells that focus on weapon attacks. When your spellcasting features let you learn sorcerer spell first level or higher, you can select the spell from the following list. In addition to sorcerer spells, you must otherwise obey all. Okay. So this is the lame rule that they worked with before. They were cool and were like, hey, we'll add this on for free. And it's essentially more so, hey, look at this. You can cast these spells, but they count against your spell list. Your very small spell list of like 15 spells. Which is like, not the greatest amount to work with when you have to pick extra choices. Especially when you want to especially when you feel like you're pigeonholed to take them because you went into the subclass for them. But like also you wanted to do other cool shit, you know? But let's see the spells they have available. So they have Compel Duel, which is cool because that's gonna draw aggro in. I like that idea. We get a lot of the Smite spells, in particular Searing Smite, Thunderous Smite, and Wrathful Smite. Now, I do like how they have the Smite spells on, because those are bonus actions, don't even have to use any sorcery points as we go up to activate them. They're verbal too, so you don't need to worry about the fact you may have a shield and, you know, likely a heavy weapon. But Searing Smite is not good, because it only adds a d6 of fire damage, and if they fail a saving throw, it could keep adding the d6, but like, it's like, what, a con save? Right, because the next creature you hit with the melee attack weapon, there's Restoration, your weapon flares with high intensity, and the attack deals an extra 1d6 fire damage to the target. And it the flames. At the start of each of its turns as the spell ends, the creature must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, take 1d6 fire damage. So yeah, it's just kind of like a little bit of continuous ship damage, but it's not that great. It also doesn't really fit into Earth unless you want to make it like a Magma sword, but it's like, even then it's like, this spell just deals a buff of damage, honestly. Like, again, it's first level, but a lot of first level spells do more damage. Wrathful Smite is good. Wrathful Smite is pretty good. Wrathful Smite essentially is another smite attack that is d6 psychic damage. However, it can scare off opponents by giving them, if they fail with some saving though, they're going to be frightened towards you. And they have to beat that check with a saving throw. So at least with that, you are dealing a damage that's not commonly resisted at early levels. And you're also inputting a condition that takes up the creature's entire action, if they're trying to get rid of it. So that at least is pretty good utility, not necessarily utility, a good debuff to put in. Though I do think with the criteria that we've sort of been doing of like 2 spells per level, I think we're probably going to keep Thunderous Smite in here, because I think Thunderous Smite, although Thunder may be applied more so for like a more so for like a Storm Sorcerer idea, but I think it fits better with the idea of Earth just like being able to push aside and the brute force of it more. First time you hit a creature with a melee weapon during spell's duration, your weapon rings with thunder. This is not about 300 feet of you. And the attack deals an extra 2d6 thunder damage to the target. Additionally, if the target is a creature, it must succeed a strength saving throw or be pushed 10 feet away from you and knock you prone. Thunder Smite can be good, depending on initiative order and your allies. Not terrible at first level spell. I don't know, here's the thing. Personally, for me, when I play Paladin, both times I've done Paladin, Thunder Smite's my go-to smite. Because it's really good to push people away from you and your allies to give them space, because, well, I've had usually done Paladin a lot more squishy parties, and it's really good to have that little bit of space, especially depending on your terrain. It does more damage than the other smites, so that also is that also is just a plus. I get it's not continual damage like Searing Smite could be, or a really good condition like Wrathful Smite, but I feel like most times when I'm just wanting to smite without wanting to commit to a smite, it's really good. Especially in the Paladin mindset, because of course Paladin is its own thing. But you could smite on top of that. And yeah, it just goes on top of any weapon damage. Because I know in the Paladin I first used Thunder Smite on, by the end game he got like an axe that did, I think, here, you know what, let me go up to my, wait, I don't have access to that character sheet anymore. I can't check him out. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think I can. But I think an axe that did, I think, 2d4 slashing and 2d4 lightning damage. And if he smited, he would do 2d8 radiant damage. And if he did thunder smite, it would be 2d6 thunder damage. So it would be like so much dice of so many different categories and so much different types of damage types. My DM weeped when they were like, alright, you could pick this up. I'm like, cool. I'm going to see how many damage types and different damage dice I can apply here and have so much chaos. I'm glad it's on Roll20, so I don't have to worry about the math. But I would think out of these, we're gonna probably pick Thunderous Smite, because I think that fits a bit better. Like, in terms of thematics. Even if Wrathful Smite is better. Because sometimes you gotta make the decision that flavor mechanics make more sense. Maybe I shouldn't give the Phaelok Fireball, even though it would be cool. Alright. Second level spells you could pick from are Branding Smite and Magic Weapon. Magic Weapon's pretty good. If it's just handed to you. Like, I think if we just had those two spells, like, given to us, that could be pretty good, because Magic Weapon is a bonus action to do. Makes a weapon magical, like a +1 magic weapon. So, pretty solid. Allows you to break through those resistances early on in the game if you're fighting tough opponents that are supposed to be very bulky, or if you're against a werewolf or something. It's a very good early game spell. And Branding Smite, I mean, it's a real-ass smite, I think. Wait. Because I know it does radiant damage. Yeah, okay, it does 2d6 radiant damage, and it also doesn't really allow a creature to become invisible. So it really stops it from its escape options. Blinding Smite, I'm not too familiar with. The next time you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack during the spell's duration, the weapon flares with a bright light, and the attack deals 3d8 radiant damage to the target. Additionally, the target must make a Constitution saving throw or be blinded. Creature is blind until the spell makes it with a Constitution saving throw. Okay. So that would be good if you weren't a paladin. You know? Like for us, that's not bad. But, like, also, I don't know how I feel about that being a third level spell, usually only for paladins. Because, like, if you did a normal smite, you'd be doing, like, 48. And you're only doing it so you can maybe blind someone? It had to be really high for this, too. Right, for a Sorcerer, it's probably... It does seem better for a Sorcerer, because we can't smite. Even at 3d8 is not the best damage, we can basically smite and cast blind. So... You see, in theory it isn't, but it's more so like... I think for a Sorcerer here, it's a pretty good bargain. Because again, it's only at 5th level we'd get it. But... if you're like at fucking, like... if you're a half-caster, you're probably like, what, level 9? When you get a... let's take Artificer's reference. Yeah, you're level 9 when you get those kinds of spells. And like at that point, if I want to use a high level spell for damage, I want to smite. And a lot of things at that point have really good con. At least in my experiences. And it's more so for Paladins specifically. Like at this point, I probably want to do either more Crusader's Mantle to get everyone else buffed, Spirit Shroud, Aura of Vitality. Like, I know those are more my go-tos. I didn't use Crusader's Mantle, but that one's a cool one, because that just gives other people Divine Favor. Divine Vapor. Like, even with concentration. That's just my own vibe check. Especially because, you know, for Paladins specifically, I did not focus as much on Charisma as I did with Strength. But that also depends on how you're playing your Paladin. Elemental Weapon, which is good if you have prep time. It's good if you know you're going into a combat. Because when I learned it wasn't a... well, actually, for a Sorcerer, it could be good. It could actually maybe be good as a Sorcerer, because I learned in KB, in a one-shot I did with KB, I learned that I didn't like the spell as much, because when I need an elemental weapon, when I feel like I need it, it's in combat, especially because it is concentration. I think it'd be really cool if you used your Sorcerer points to quicken cast this, so then you can go knucking butts with it. Because then, yeah, you're doing great. So yeah, a non-magical weapon touched by you. Choose the following types: acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. For the duration, the weapon has +1 bonus to attack rolls and deals an extra 1d4 for the chosen elemental types. So, yeah, like, it's not fantastic, but like it's better than magic weapon, and it could maybe be good to exploit a occasional vulnerability. And like, yeah, if you quicken spell it, it could be a lot better. And staggering smite. I'm not super familiar with that smite. Next time you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack during this spell's duration, your weapon pierces both body and mind. The target takes an extra 46 psychic damage to the target. The target must make a wisdom saving throw on a failed save. It has disadvantage on next attack rolls, ability checks, and can't take reactions until next turn. That's pretty good, because that's first off, it's fun because it's not stun, but it's a really cool thing of disadvantage, and it can do reactions. Real solid. And you can do the damage, which also is really good. So that's great. We might keep that. All right, so we got to work on what spells we want to keep. I probably want to have some earth-based spells as well, because there's quite a few, right? Like especially post Xanathars, because it's probably working more so with a player's handbook spells, because they didn't want to probably put down the spells they were putting in Xanathars at the time. Alright, so just like according to Metal Magic, we also get stone durability. At first level, your connection stone gives you extra fortitude to get +1 hit points. Your maximum hit points is increased by 1 and increases by 1 whenever you gain level in this class. So that's going to give you a bit more of that Blissey feel of like a lot of HP. Similar thing to Dragon Sorcerer, which makes sense. You want that. You want that bulk. Additionally, as an action, you can gain AC of 13 plus Constitution modifier if you aren't wearing armor. Your skin assumes a stony appearance. This effect lasts to the end. And as a bonus action, you're incapacitated or you don armor other than a shield. So I would say we'd probably make this more of a passive thing as opposed to as an action. Because like this basically is the same thing as the dragon scales. Like almost word for word, except we just replace the dex with con. Which like isn't bad as a sorcerer, it's actually gonna be really good for us. Let's see. Let's compare. Yeah, because with dragon resilience, yeah, it's the same thing, but it's passive. So like, why would we make this an action? Like, what sense does that make? But okay, that also means if we invested even a decent amount of con, we're probably getting at least like 15 to maybe 16 AC, which is like good AC, right? And if you max out, you're probably gonna get 18 AC, and this is plus. Okay, no, let's assume we put even like a decent amount of con, and I'm not talking like a lot. I'm talking like a modest +2, right? Like, hey, you had con and you wanted to give it out to your other stats too, like sort of spread them out a bit. You're still gonna have 15 AC at base and you have shields, so that means you're also going to get like 17 AC, right? The minimum AC you're probably gonna have is going to be 15 if you're having a shield, which is like good AC. Like that's getting close to what I call the good AC. 16 is good AC. This is decent AC. This is that soft spot between 13 and 16 where it's like, okay, you could probably avoid a hit, you know. So that's not bad, especially with con being a main stat that you're probably going to invest in as a sorcerer. So I would say keep it as, we probably want to make that a default feature. Yeah, because that would be like the whole appeal of you being this sorcerer, right? Because like you don't need to go super crazy at this point. You just want, like, the idea is we want spells that allow us to be more martial and essentially be like the reverse of be what Bladesinger is, right? Be a spellcaster who could become martial. And giving it 6 hit points, giving us better AC will allow us to do that. Because yeah, even like if you're insane and you put all, because again, your AC could potentially be 20 with max con and a normal shield, which could be very appealing. Someone playing a character with 19 AC right now, it's very nice. And you can even get that if you, again, assuming you have shield, or a shield, not even the shield spell, you would only need, okay, you would still need +4 con at least, but like, you can get that with lucky rolls. Alright. At 6th level, you get Stone Aegis. At 6th level, you command, the command of Earth Magic grows stronger, allowing you to harness up your allies' protection. As a bonus action, you grant an Aegis to an allied creature you can see within 60 feet of you. The Aegis is a dim gray aura of Earth Magic that protects the target. Any bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage the target takes is reduced to 2 plus Sorcerer level divided by 4. This effect lasts for 1 minute until you use it again, or you're incapacitated. In addition, when a creature you can see within 60 feet of you hits the protected target with a melee attack weapon, you can use a reaction to teleport to an unoccupied space that you can see within 5 feet of the attacker. You can teleport only if you had the attacker on the same surface. So I guess if you're in mud and they're in water, you can't do that? Or if you're... That might need a wording difference, because I feel like I understand what they're trying to say, but like the way they say it could lead to like confusion on the table. You can make one melee weapon attack against the attacker. If the attack hits, it deals an extra 1d10 force damage. The extra damage increases to 2d10 at level 11 and 3d10 at level 17. So here we got an ability that sounds really cool. You get to help your fellow players reduce damage, which is nice. And you were even able to punish those attacking your friends by teleporting and bapping them, and even getting rewarded for it. I like that idea, though I think we want to simplify how much damage is reduced, right? Because, yes, here we're getting 4 damage reduced. But, like, also it's gonna feel like forever before any of that. Wait. Yeah. But it's gonna feel like forever until you actually get a big, reduction. Especially because it is only against physical attacks, and you can only really have it on one party member. Thankfully, though, it seems like you don't need to worry about, like, it definitely is a, nope, it lasts until you are incapacitated or you decide to give it to someone else. So really, until you go to sleep that night, this person's gonna have this buff. So it is powerful. Especially if it's on a squishy boy. Similar to what you are without your stony abs. At level 14, we get Stone's Edge, not to be confused with the 100 power, 80 accuracy rock type move, Stone Edge. Starting at 14th level, your mastery of earth magic allows you to add additional force of elemental earth to your spells. When you cast a spell that deals damage, choose one creature damaged by the spell on the round. You cast it. The creature takes extra force damage equal to half your sorcerer level. Can only be done once per casting of a spell. So is that saying, like, only... Like, you can only do it once... Sorry, such a volume there. Can you only do it for, like, one spell at a time? Like, say, if I casted a Thunderous Smite on someone, is that saying I can only do it for that Thunderous Smite, and I can't do it again if I cast more Thunderous Smites? Or is it saying that if I, for some reason, casted Quicken Spell, I can also apply Stone's Edge to that? Like, it's... I feel like that's kind of a big thing about this. Not a big thing, but like a little things. Like, I feel like here it may just be... once per casting of the spell. So, if the spell deals damage multiple... Okay! So, if a spell deals damage multiple times... Okay. Got it. See, I was more... Because, like... I don't know, I can see that confusing other players too. So if we decide to keep Stone's Edge, we may want to make the language clearer. Because sometimes I do think that giving examples, or even over-explaining an ability, is better than, like, yeah, vagueness can be fun, but sometimes I feel like it adds more debates on the table. And it's good to know, like, yes, this is the cans and cannot do's of this ability. Then again, that could be me being very neurodivergent and being like, I need to communicate exactly what I mean, in even if it means I have to be really repetitive and really obnoxious about it. Lastly, there's Earthmaster's Aegis. For $18, you can use Stone Aegis to protect an ally. Usually are the 3 creatures that gain this benefit. So, basically, you can choose up to... Honestly, I'm glad to hear that, KB, because if anything, I thought you'd be the ones like, well, would be nice if it was a little vague so I could play around with it more. But okay, cool. I almost forgot I lived in a world where you like eating the crunch of a payday in your games at times. So yeah, that means at this point, of the 3 targets, which if you're in a small D&D party of 4 people, that would be about good 8 damage reduced from any physical slashing or piercing damage, which is pretty nice. Let's see. So first, let's start with first level, right? I think we should keep our proficiencies for these martial weapons, right? Because I think that is cool. I like the idea that you're gonna be martial. You're gonna have focusing on the shield because you don't want armor. Because the whole idea is your stone skin is the armor, or like maybe you got metal on you or something. So you got metal magics. Like I like that idea. And I like the idea of having martial weapons as well, and it makes you possibly a spell and sword character. So we're gonna keep metal magic in there. Not metal, let's see. What's a cool name for it? Because saying bonus proficiency is boring. It's effective. But I want to be cool about it. Metal Master was almost one I was thinking of. But then it makes it sound like we're gonna go more for a metal sorcerer, and that's not the idea for having stone sorcerer. Like, I don't mind metal magic, because the idea of you're using magic on weapons. Let's see. Here, I'm gonna call it Metallic Mastery, because I think that just sounds cool. First level, you gain extra. These 2. These in shields, weapons, and martial weapons. I have it all weapons. We're also going to add metal magic here. Magics. Oh, you mean just me typing? Because my microphone's right next to my keyboard? Because that's probably what it is. Because I'm not fancy, I don't have... Yeah, no, that's just my keyboard. I can only have my microphone so far away. I'm not as fancy to have like those arm things that just keeps the microphone right up here, so you don't have to worry about me typing. But even then, I don't know if you can still hear typing at that distance. Or if I sound like really loud. First of all, we want to lower your size font so it's easier to see. You know, Stone Sorcerer reminds me of an idea I heard where sorcerers should use Constitution instead of Charisma. Now, I can see that angle, especially because it's the idea of innate, like your body, like is natural to you. I think Constitution can make sense for some kind of sorcerers, but like also, Charisma legit just is Constitution of the mind. Which, like, may sound a bit pretentious, but, like, charisma literally is your force of personality and how much you as a person are willing to be a fucking person. And, like, I get that argument because, like, it makes sense. Wisdom is weird, dude. Wisdom is more so awareness in D&D. Like, when you look at all the skills, like perception, medicine, insight, or even animal handling, it's more so about being aware of your surroundings and, like, keeping, like, noticing little things, and adapting around it. And I do think they use wisdom saves inappropriately. Because, like, wisdom saving throws are, yes, oftentimes the ones to make you avoid things like charm, frighten, whatever. But, like, honestly, sometimes I think they should be charisma. Because, like, it kind of feels more like in charisma's wheelhouse. But charisma saves are only really put in effect when you're being, like, pushed out into another dimension. Or, like, being possessed by a ghost. Which is really weird. The ghost one makes sense because it's your personality conquering theirs. But like, if I'm being banished, why should I roll charisma? If I'm being baned, why is that charisma? And I feel like the whole wisdom saving throw debacle kind of does throw things in a weird loop because like it kind of makes it the most important mental stat, despite the fact that like, you know. Like, wisdom is more like the mental dex. In the sense, it's one that's going to be most used for skill. It's going to be the one most used for dodging. It's more spell-like effects opposed to physical threats. But it is weird. It is weird. And intelligence and strength are the same because either one of them can be dumped for someone's build. Yeah, if I was starting D, I would split like half of the wisdom saving throws. Yeah. Like I get maybe the argument of like, well, the bard should be causing charmed person, but he should be charmed easily because he's smooth and charismatic, and people just don't notice casting spells, and that's how it could be wisdom. But also, like, I don't know, dude. I think someone who casts the charming magic, who like relies on charisma, should know how to like, hey, that's what it would feel like if I was getting charmed. And I don't want to be like that. I want to be the one charming. You know, and it just kind of feels like, you jerk. But no, I don't blame you at all, you're just ill. Alright, so at first level, we're also gonna add Primordial, because, like, why wouldn't you know Primordial if Dragon Sorcerer is no Draconic out of the womb? Right. Primordial. We're also gonna add the Mold Earth cantrip, just so it'll be like all the other elementals that we've added here, getting one, like, produce flame, shape water, and everything, just to sort of level the playing field a bit. And also, I like the idea of having an extra cantrip, even if it's not damage based. Put me in a corner wall, Watsy. Fucking sue me. Oh no. Wait, the Pinkertons are coming. No! Trip. I'm just gonna copy paste what I've had in some of the other ones, because it's a wording that's like very specific. Add it to your spells. Does not count against spells known. Because we want to make sure that it's nice and inviting. Alright. Spells. Sorcerer. Spells. Against your spells. Oh, so you just get them. Alright, so we're gonna... let's get a table. Level 1. Review. Level 1. Great, I'm so flustered. I can spell good. 5. 7, and level 9. So, let's look at some magics. So first of all, I do think we might get rid of Compel Duel, which is unfortunate. It's a good spell. But we got an Earth spell in here somewhere. Earth Trevor. Because I don't know, I feel like if you are, like, I understand why this wasn't in the UA, because Xanathars hadn't come out yet at the time. And you probably didn't want spells that you didn't even know at the time was going to be passed into the UA, or into the new book. So, you know, just go with spells from the PN for the PHP. But we have the benefit of hindsight. And we can add Earth Tremor, which is a 10-foot radius, which is half a fireball, which honestly, a bit bigger than I was thinking. Like when I think about it like that. Each creature other than you in the area must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, a creature takes 1d6. Oh, it's centered on you too. Holy shit. A creature takes 1d6 bludgeoning damage and is not prone. If the ground in the area is loose, earth, or stone, it becomes difficult terrain until cleared. So, honestly, that may be better than Compel Duel, because if you're doing it in an environment where it's gonna work for you, you essentially create an area of denial of 10 feet, and a 10-foot radius, which is a bit bigger. It's centered on yourself, which also means you are trapping the enemy with you. And especially if you want to play the character as a Earth Genasi, then you will have that in that specific situation. You wouldn't even have to worry about the difficult terrain. But you're doing a little bit of damage, but you're also knocking people prone. And if you aren't knocking people prone, you are putting people in a position where they're not being able to really move much or burning any movement to get out. So great area control, great crowd control, and allows you to crack Snuggles. Oh, apparently it is normally a sorcerer spell. I didn't know that, but also really bad for a lot of sorcerers that they're in the middle. Unless if you're a storm sorcerer, it could be good because you just woo on out of there after you casted it. But like, ooh, no, that's actually really good for the stone sorcerer with our good AC and access to martial weapons, especially if we quicken cast it. Oh my god. Like that's not an immediate good spell, but like give it like 3 levels, or give it 2 levels, it'll be good. And I think we're gonna keep Thunderous Smite, even if Wrathful Smite is better. Even if this is better. Like, unless... I like the idea of keeping the smites. Yeah. Let's keep Thunderous Smite. Because that's really solid damage, and I think it really plays in the idea of Earth, of like more so sheer force beating you across the field by just bite. Let's see, and for second level spells, Agonizing Scorcher. No. A Gosnar, your Scorcher. Let's see, Bark Skirt. Not great for us. At least not for us, especially because of concentration. No, we don't want that. Cloud of Daggers would be a real bastard move. Because, fun fact, when you cast Cloud of Daggers, it's basically a spell that does 44 slashing damage to a target that starts their turn in that space. And you can do it before it's someone's turn. You can do it in a space that is occupied. So you just make someone take 44 damage. God, that would be so cruel to put that somewhere and then somehow deny them moving. And then Earth's Tremor. Oh. That would be evil. God, someone doing Spike Growth and then fucking... Oh no, someone trying to Spike Growth someone and then like doing Cloud of Daggers on them so they're fucked if they stay or go. Evil. Earthbind could be fought. Earthbind could be interesting. So Earthbind basically, it basically takes anything that is flying. They do a strength saving throw, and their movement speed is reduced to 0 as they are basically pulled to the ground. And it's 60 feet per turn. So pretty darn good if you want something to stay down and also like be a sitting duck and also just attempt to get him. And it seems like the sabers suck too. Like it doesn't repeat the saving throw. The saving strength saving throw or its flying speed, if any, is 0, and the spell's for the spell's duration. Airborne creature affected by the spell descends 60 feet per round. Alright, so basically it's not it gets prevents fly speed. Still allows other kind of movements. Could be something. Hear me out. Enlarge reduce. That would just be fun, but it probably wouldn't be for you. Maximilian's Earthen Grasp, though. That would be perfect. Dude, Maximilian's Earthen Grasp is a simple but cool spell. Because basically you just conjure a big, like, earth hand. And it can just firmly grasp a creature. That must make a strength saving throw or failure. It takes 2d6 bludgeoning damage, and is restrained, which is just really good to establish just nice, easy control when it works. And then actually you can cause the hand to crush the restrained target, who must make a strength saving throw. Takes 2d6 bludgeoning damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on the successful one. To break out, the restrained target must use his action to make a strength save against your spell save DC. On a success, the creature is no longer restrained by the hand. It's an action you can cause the hand to reach for a different creature to move into a different unoccupied space within range. The hand release. Okay, but yeah, really good because essentially you could take someone who's in a threat, grasp them, and again, because we're keeping in mind we can quicken spell this, we're gonna quicken spell, grasp, and take them out of the field, or go quicken spell, grasp, bonk them. Like, I do feel like this subclass is very dependent on quicken spell. But like, also it sounds really cool, and it kind of sounds like the kind of crazy shit you'd want to do as an Eldritch Knight. Because you can do all this stuff. But it would be... One downside, though, is it would be pretty mad, because you would need to have... You basically need Paladin stats to make this work, but... Hey, it's a cool option. Let's see what else we can get. Ideally from another class, because we got Branding Smite. And that's not bad. I just don't think Branding Smite really fits, despite the fact that it's a really cool smite. Me and the homeboys love smiting, but on my butt. Yeah, I guess we will go for the smite. Because, like, enlarge reduce is fun, but for this kind of build, we're probably not the one who wants to concentrate on that. Because, like, we're the one who would want to be enlarged, you know? And, like, even then, that doesn't really help us all too much, because only a D4 added onto it, and its concentration, we also wouldn't be able to smite that way at all, which could be rough. And Earthbind is okay, but it's very niche. It's good for a wizard to have. Maybe a druid. Oh, it's not good for sorcerer or warlock at all. Yeah, I guess we're gonna take. We'll take the smite. Alright, and let's take out level 3. Because, like, it had an elemental weapon, which I get the idea of doing that. But, like, one, I know we have another earth spell that we can work with. Which will definitely be... Where's my Erupting Earth? There's my Erupting Earth. Erupting Earth has insane range. Holy shit, 120 feet? You choose a point that you can see within range. A fountain of churned earth and stone erupts in 20-foot cube. So again, it kind of is fireball rate. It's kind of the fireball radius. Each creature in the area must make a dexterity saving throw. Creature takes 3d10 bludgeoning damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. Additionally, the ground of the area becomes difficult terrain until cleared away. Each 5-foot square in the area requires at least 1 minute to clear by hand. So, this isn't like an action to clear, you need to go out of your way to clean it. So it's a good way for you to, boom, make an area definitely a no-go. Like, again, I think if you were playing an Earth Genasi in this kind of game, you would be insane setting up this kind of movement. With, like, again, bonus, like, quicken spell, erupt the earth, make it a massive difficult terrain, and you able to move freely through it. Oh, powerful. Again, that's only playing on type. Also, it's not concentration, which is something you'd probably greatly appreciate. Mostly because you want to do martial stuff, but you also want your cool spells here and there, but also have your cool power up one. So yeah, there's elemental weapon, which like I don't know if we want. Because I think honestly, with something like this, like maximizing the grass, I feel like it'd be better to concentrate on, rather than the smite. Honestly, Thunder Smite would be better because like at early game, you're probably gonna be able to like burn those a lot more, especially because you're a full caster. Or for you, it's gonna be a lot more powerful to have like a 2d6 big pushy. Hear me out, meld into stone. Hear me out, what if you could just meld into stone? Let's see, you step into a stone object or surface large enough to fully contain your body, melding yourself and all your equipment to carry to the Stone Federation. Using your movement, you step into the stone at a point you can touch. Nothing of your presence remains visible or otherwise detectable by non-magical senses. So if no one's locating creature finding you, you're stone. While merged with the stone, you can't see what occurs outside, and any wisdom perception checks you make to hear sounds outside is made with disadvantage. You're made aware of the passage of time and can cast spells on your own self while merged into stone, and use your movement to leave the stone where you entered and end the spell. You otherwise can't move. Minor physical damage to the stone doesn't harm you, but partial destruction or change in the stone shape to an extent that no longer fit within expels you and deals 66 bludgeoning damage to you. The stone's complete destruction or transmutation to a different substance expels you and deals 50 bludgeoning damage, just straight up. Jesus. Okay, so that's a cool idea. I like the flavor of that. Because it kind of sets up as you as the idea of, like, not only being very tanky, but, like, you using your magic to maybe be stealthy and, like, set some wild shit up. And also giving you the theme of earth powers. It may be a bit out there, but, like, I think it makes sense. Honestly, meld the stone sounds like a really fun thing, and a spell it's not something you would normally get, and it's kind of like one that makes you think, ooh, what could I do with this? You know? And I think that's what I really like about sometimes having spells outside of your normal spell list, because like it's just like, huh, what if I did use it? You know? Because again, there's many spells people just wouldn't look at. I don't look at melt the stone or shape stone at all. So seeing this is like, ooh, that sounds pretty wild. So yeah, we're gonna meld into stone. Alright, let's check out level 4 spells we could take. Definitely want to pick up Staggering Smite, because I do like that a lot. Like, I just like how it's a good... we get the real tough choice. Oh, but Stone Skin's concentration. I don't know if we want that. Because, like, alright, what does Stone Skin actually do? Does it get resistance? Okay, it's full resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing. Here's the thing, I don't think we'll go with Stone Skin, because as cool as Stone Skin is, it's also a kind of thing you probably want other people to cast, and you are already casting a version of stuff, like a way to reduce damage with Aegis. So I don't think we need to worry about that. We made Staggering Sight and Stone Shape. Let's check out Stone Shape. Alright, so it's instantaneous. You touch a stone object of medium size or smaller, or a section of stone no more than 5 feet in any dimension, and form into any shape that suits your purpose. So, for example, you could shape a large rock into a weapon, idol, or coffer, or make a small passage through a wall as small as the wall. Huh. As long as the wall is less than 5 foot thick. You can also shape stone door into a frame that would seal the door shut. The object you create can have up to 2 hinges and a latch, but finer mechanisms detail is impossible. Ooh, I kind of like that. I kind of like the idea that you have like a fine manipulation of it that you can just be like, oh fuck, this now. Little geomancy. Like that. So yeah, let's go for Daggering Smite and Stone Shape. I just think that's neat. That's for 5th level stuff. I think Wall of Stone is here. Wall of Stone here. Wall of Stone is here. So it lasts 10 minutes, but it's a good way. It's a very good defensive spell. A non-magical wall of stone springs into existence at a point you choose within range. The wall is 6 inches thick and is composed of a 10 foot by 10 foot panels. Each panel must be same length with at least one other panel. Alternatively, you can create a 10 foot by 20 foot panel and they're only 3 inches thick. If the wall cuts through a creature's space when it appears, the creature is pushed to one side of the wall, your choice. If a creature would be surrounded by all sides by the wall, and another surface, the creature make a dexterity saving throw. On a success, it can use the reaction to move up to its speed, so it's no longer enclosed by the wall. The wall can have any shape you desire, though it can't occupy same space as any creature or object. The wall doesn't need to be vertical or resting on any firm foundation. It must, however, merge with and be solidly supported by existing stone. Thus you can use this spell to bridge a chasm or create a ramp. You can create a span greater than 20 feet in length. You must half the size of the panel to create supports. You can also crudely shape the wall to create correlations, battlements, and so on. The wall is an object made of stone, so it can be destroyed and thus breached. Each panel has AC 15 and 30 hit points of pure per inch of thickness. Oh shit! So that means if it's got 6 inches. Oh fuck! It's got 180 hit points each panel. Ooh. Reducing the panel to 0 destroys it. It might cause tank panels to collapse via discretion. If you maintain concentration on the spell for a whole duration, the wall becomes permanent and can't be dispelled. Otherwise, the wall disappears when the spell ends. So, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're definitely picking up Wall of Stone, because that's fucking sick. And really flexible, too. Alright. So, I'm kind of eyeing Destruction Wave as well, but we'll kind of see anything else, because, like, Banishing Smite's pretty sick. Just because it's Smite and Banishment. We didn't put a Conjure Elemental on the other one, so we're not going to put it here. Because I think it's lazy, we just couldn't think of one for the Earth Elemental. Destructive Wave would be pretty good. Because it's big damage, big AoE. Good for the martial vibes. Let's see. Especially if we want to go more for force damage. Steel and Strike would be really cool, but I don't feel like that's the vibe check. Transmute Rock. What's the difference between Transmute Rock and Shape Stone? Alright, choose an area of stone and mud. Stone or mud that you can see within 40-foot cube. Oh, I know this one. KB uses against us in Volamitis. Rock to mud or mud to rock. Not much of a rock of any sort in the area becomes equal volume into thick mud. For the duration, if you cast a spell on an area of the ground, it becomes muddy enough. The creature can sink into it. Each foot in the creature. Okay. Yeah, basically make stone into quicksand. Making them sink and they take 48 bludgeoning damage if they fail. So they just kind of keep on sinking and dinking. But if it's much rock. Okay, so basically traps them either way. I don't think that really fits the vibe of the Stone Sorcerer. It's really cool that stone powers, but we got Wall of Stone, so if we want that to be sort of our Earth quota, we've got that. Yeah, I think we're gonna pick that as that spell and get Destructive Wave as our other, because that's just cool. It's cool and it sort of fits like the peak of like this more physical caster, and it's something that we just don't normally get, which I think is like the exciting part. You strike the ground, creating a burst of divine energy that ripples outward from you. Each creature you choose within 30 feet of you, remind you, you choose. You pick out which one of these you get. Must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take 5d6 thunder damage, as well as 5d6 radiant or necrotic damage, your choice, and then be knocked prone. A creature that succeeds on its saving throw takes half as much damage and isn't knocked prone. So that's 10d6. That is up to 60 damage. On average, 40 damage. It's distributed through an AoE, which is very good. And it's in a cone. A cone! Oh, it's a radius, actually. Alright, still really good. But that's bigger than Fireball. I don't care if it's Thunder or Necrotic or whatever. It fits better in the vibe check of you essentially creating an Earthquake. Okay. So, we got that down pat of having more Earth-based spells into there, as well as some smites, with the exception of level 5. Let's see. I'm gonna keep the name Stone's Durability, because we're gonna basically keep most of this the same. I might be generous and add like another thing, but that might be a bit much because we do get quite a bit. We are getting quite a bit here because we are. Well, it's not okay. We're getting a lot because we are getting marshals and shield. We are getting spells. And we're getting AC HP buff. So I think we'll keep it the same. Just make it always instead of passively to keep it up. I understand it's not... It makes it just seem like the same thing as... It kind of makes it seem like the same thing as Dragon Sorcerer, and it kind of is. But it's better. It's better. Like, because I do know this week I want to do more homebrew stuff with Sorcerer, because I've always felt like that Sorcerer needs an answer to Fae and Fiends. but like their own kind of sorcerer equivalents. Um, but, then it hit me like a flash. What if we built a bomb? Tonight our school is Vietnam. Alright. Because yeah, the thing is, like, it's not completely stepping on the toes of Dragon Sorcerer, of the Dragon Blood, but like it is. And so like I like it. I really like it. But do I want to change it? Do I want to change it though? Cause like it's good. And see, it's like a kind of a big debate here of like this is really good for what we want. Because like if we just made it passive, we get 13 plus con, get the 1 hit points every level and everything, then like great. We've done it. We have surpassed the bulkiness of the Dragon Sorcerer. But I don't want to step on the toes of Dragon Sorcerer and make it feel like I am just doing power creep. Because this is what it feels like it was doing. Even if it was trying to do it like as an action, you could do this, set this up sort of like as a mage armor. But like, yeah, like the only difference, like the only thing it really leaves you vulnerable for is like one, if a DM wants to be like, you didn't say you turn on stone's durability, or if you were asleep, but like also Dragon Blood Sorcerer always has the AC buff going on, so like there's no reason we shouldn't either. Well, like also there's no reason that we should just have the better buff, because like I think when we rework, because like honestly, as much as I do like the fact that Dragon Sorcerers essentially have mage armor on them permanently, which is really good. Like, me and the homeboys love having a passive spell. I do think that although having great AC is really good and what we need, maybe we need to exchange something. Okay. Here's how I think I'm gonna trade this off. I think we're gonna keep the passive AC because we need that. We need that. Like we're definitely want to incentivize like our con because we want to be beefy for a sorcerer, because you know even a D6 sorcerer with good con can have surprisingly solid health. And the main thing is we don't want to be hit at all. Because I feel like the big thing is we are going to be essentially trying to AC tank, not HP tank. We are essentially trying to do the inverse of what Barbarian does. High HP, low AC. We're trying to be high AC, low HP, kind of like a monk. But we're also throwing shit around. Like, we should be able, like, not many hits should hit, but when they do, they're devastating. So I think we're gonna keep AC buff, and I'm kind of thinking, what if we have damage reduction on ourselves? And so when we get Stone Aegis, it's more so we're extending our power onto others to do that, right? So we would then, yeah, because at that point we would then be like, okay, cool, you've learned how to protect yourself, and as you've gained your magic, you've learned how to reduce damage for others. And also, it's not even like you can get heavy armor master for this character, because like you're ideally not going to be wanting to wear armor, because we want you to have the AC buff. We want you to have 20 AC or so without even investing in armor. You're gonna be wanting to invest in shields and like cool shields you can find. And you know what? That could be a good way for your DM to reward you by getting you cool shields. Rather, if it's stuff to boost your AC even further or even additional effects, that's how your DM's gonna reward you. You know, they're gonna reward you more so on your AC and protecting you from getting hit, because if you get hit, you're fucked. And also, that's only for attack rolls and make you feel like you're more powerful against a martial situation, because you still may have to worry about your saving throws against spells, because like you're doing a build like this, you're probably more focusing on con and dumping dex. Like, probably because you're going to be using more martial weapons. Why would you really invest in dex in this kind of build? So like maybe at most you're having it as like an insurance for saving throws or fireballs, but like you're really more invested in the perspective of like, hey, you're here to tank hits better. So let's start with Stone's durability. Start off with the AC buff, and then find a way to do damage reduction instead of hit point maximum. Because I kind of like this different play style of high AC, decent health for what you likely have because you've invested in con, and being a, like, yes, you being in the battlefield is a risk, but it's a calculated risk for you, especially because you can cast all this magic that can cause a lot of chaos. First level, he is as tough as stone. Or while unarmored, actually, I think it'd be you gain an unarmored AC. Would it be how we would say it? How do we say it in D&D speak? You gain a base AC. Okay. A base. Hey Al, how you doing? We are trying to make a martial sorcerer with the stone sorcerer, which was Wizards of the Coast attempt of trying to make a sorcerer that is a D6 hit dice, be also a frontline fighter. Oh, dude, I'm sorry to hear, dude. I'm sorry, I'm not a cleric. I can't cast Death Ward. But I could maybe find a scroll for protection against poison. At least it's casual. At least you're doing casual death instead of like professional death. That's like some serious shit. Cause like death gets paid for that. Like that's some Charon shit. Alright. So here we're gonna get a base AC of 13 plus on modifier. I'm doing pretty alright. I saved a tiny little frog from my pool today, and that made me really happy. He was a tiny little guy, and I saved him from the chemicals. And also, I get to do something that I think is a genuine challenge to make in 5e. So I'm really excited about that. And also, this week's my 2-year anniversary week, which I'm really excited about, because I'm just really doing a lot of stuff with Sorcerer. Like, I'm doing this. I'm gonna try to make 2 homebrew classes over the next 2 days. Thursday, I've got something where I'm gonna try and make, like, very quick D&D builds for all my friends I made over the 2 years that I've been streaming. And Friday, I have my egg lock. I'm really excited about all that. Like, I'm feeling very good. I'm feeling very great. I'm feeling very excited. Alright, equal to your con modifier. If you aren't wearing armor. You're not wearing armor. We'll say the flare takes its own thing. armor or its ability. So that would mean we could keep our big AC of, at minimum, like, if you're investing any con into this, like, up to 14 AC. Right, like, say you even had a modest +2 to this, like, con wasn't your main stat you're going into, that's at least, with a shield, AC 17. Like, if you went Knucking Butts and you got a +4 to your con, that's like a +6 to your AC. Like, and that's with the default shield and this. So, like, you're gonna have bulk. You're gonna be hard to hit. You're gonna be something that's like until the mid game, where like when you're getting to like that tier 2 to tier 3 bridge, you are gonna be very solid. Also, did the music end? Did we? Yes, I am still listening. Alright. What? You're gonna make me drink? You're gonna make me drink my sorrows away when we're out of Sea Sorcerer and into Stone Sorcerer, the driest sorcerer of all? Very well. Glug glug. Alright. So, let's see what kind of damage reduction we want to do. Maybe we want to make it... Because, like, I don't think we want to use sorcery points yet. Ooh, okay. Maybe an idea. We can make the damage reduction as a... We can make the damage reduction as a, ability you activate as a bonus action. So it kind of is a valuable thing if you need to be more defensive, because you have a lot of bonus action spells, or with the sorcery you have the potential to make any of your spells bonus action. But they make it more so like, do you want to choose going offensive and being very brutal, or do you want to be defensive and maybe make it last until the start of your next turn, equal to your frequency modifier? So, basic pitch, right? Let's say it is going to be, let's say it's an idea of, you get stone, your armor becomes, like, dense, you get sort of a thick stone on you. As a bonus action, you can, reduce damage equal to 2 plus your proficiency modifier until the start of your next turn. Or just for bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. Make it not affect magical or not. Make it better for, like, hey, if you're in a martial situation, you can endure it if you feel like it's going to be rough. And you can make it as a bonus action, so you can make it at the beginning or end of your turn when you realize, like, oh, fuck, this is serious. So if you do get hit, you have, like, insurance. You know, you can tough it out. Even if it is a bit 3.5, I feel like it kind of fits more here. Bonus action, you can... Loud stones. Let's see. How do we want to word this flavor text? As bonus action, we develop a stone. Ooh. help you take hits better, may. This action may reduce bludgeoning. Damn it, begluggling. Gluggion. My favorite evolution. Okay, and slashing damage by 2 plus efficiency modifier. Until the start of your next turn. Do this equal times to your efficiency modifier. It's a bit redundant, but I'd rather this than say the reduction be based on your constitution modifier, because you can make that pretty insane. And like, although that could be very limited, it could either be really insane or really underpowered depending on how much you invested in con. And I don't want to super pressure it, right? But that does mean like, hey, you'll get an AC of at least 17, which is like total AC, always good. But if someone does hit your total ass AC, you can just be like, all right, I want to reduce this damage by at least 4. Like any melee attack, like any melee weapon attack is gonna be reduced by 4 damage at level 1, which is insane, especially with you having a D6 hit dice. That's insane. Like, you are essentially, yeah, like, say if you were, let's say if we were that, we had 8 hit points, you are essentially reducing a common hit in half. Knives probably can't do shit to you. And like with con, yeah, you likely could damage it, but like proficiency modifier makes it a bit more consistent. Do I want to make it based on con modifier, actually? Because it could reward players who are going into con a lot more and min-maxing. Because, like, you want con to be in the subclass. Because if you're a sorcerer, right, you have a d6 of dice, you want to reduce so much damage. And possibly reducing up to 7 damage per hit on a turn. Like, that could be really good, no matter what level you're at. Like, that is more than I think your Aegis would protect if we did it by con modifier, right? Because your Aegis does 2 plus your sorcerer level divided by 4. So it's being very conservative there. Because even if you were at like level 18 where you're like spreading it out, that is going to be that's gonna be 2 plus, say level 18, right? Well, let's say even level 20, right? Level 20, that's gonna be 5. Yeah, so 7's literally the max for that. But also, Stone Aegis is a practically permanent ability until you sleep, and it's something you can keep going for combats as it is written. So I think it's fine. I don't know, but I'm just. Let's keep it like this for now. See how things develop. And again, this could be something that could be more play tested. We could put a little note, maybe. Let's put a little note there. saying that this is something we want to be play tested. Put this like right here. This alternative idea. Make it plus con modifier does reduce or can reduce. Let's do an italices there. Can. That's a lot bolder than I would thought. Can reduce more damage than UA Stone Aegis? Yeah. Self, but not long term. Alright, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick because body said I'm turning up the thermostat. It's PP hours. So I will be back momentarily. It has been placed upon the pistons. They have been flushed down the toilets of losses. Alright, let's get back to work. So yeah, we're gonna keep that as sort of a playtest, kind of an open idea. I kind of want to keep the emergency modifier more so because I think that's a more modernization of D&D rules, and also like it scales less so for people who may be not min-maxing, but on may be better. On may be better. Really depends in seeing like how the math actually crunches. I don't really want to do that today. But like, if you want to go over to my Discord, which I will shill once again, there I have a little section called the Homebrew Cauldron where I put all this into in a fancy player's handbook style that you get to sort of look at and peer at and talk to me about. And I am very welcome to any kind of criticism, other than telling me I'm stupid and meanie without giving me reasons why and how I could become better. Smart face. Alright, so I like the idea of Stone Aegis, because I do like the idea of you passing your power out and like reducing damage for other people especially at range too. That's crazy. That's the crazy part. Do bum 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 ba bum. Alright, so as much as I do think the whole idea. Oh wait. Oh, it only lasts for a minute? Oh! I thought this was much longer term. But you could do it infinitely, is the thing. Yeah, because the effect lasts for a minute until you use it again or until you're incapacitated. And it doesn't state a limit to how much you can do this. Okay, which, like, that's fine. It's just completely changed how I was thinking about balancing this. But that makes sense. That's, like, a lot more reasonable than until you are incapacitated. Because that would have been that would just be insane. So, possible things to maybe change about this. This is less so because I think it's bad. But, like, I'm kind of considering making the 60 feet into, like, a touch kind of thing, because I think it makes more sense for earth and stone to be more tactile, right? And something more so, like, before, like, keep it as a bonus action, but, like, keep it more so as, like, before you go in to the fight, and, like, before you really go to the headline, or you supporting your other martial boy, slapping that on, and everything. Yeah. Because, because I don't know, like, 60 feet is good. And I don't want to deny that it's not good, and Sorcerer could use a lot of good things. But I just don't think that feels like the right vibe check for a Stone Sorcerer. I feel like they're very hands-on. I feel like it's got to be touch. For the reduction, I like it last 1 minute. I think I'm thinking also I want ways to incorporate sorcery points, because I feel like that is a cool resource that I want to reward in your subclass. And I'm kind of thinking, do we want it to be flexible here? Do we want it to be like, maybe make it that you reduce 2 damage guaranteed of any bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, but you can invest sorcery points into how much it's reduced to it, equal to like half your sorcerer level. So that way it could be, of course, really powerful, but of course it'd be scaled, because, like, yeah, 7 damage at endgame is, like, a lot. It's a good amount to be reduced. But also, well, really cool. And, also Earthmaster Aegis, that may make that really strong. Because we gotta consider if we are sticking with that. Because I do kind of like the idea of you just master this ability more and more so enhance this thought and concept. Man, who would have thought the martial one would be the most crunchy? Let's see. Instead, then, because I feel like here's what we do. We can, because I think it's less so. I think this is a bad thing. I think it would just be easier and more streamlined for people just to see a more basic number instead of essentially 2 plus your level and divided by 4. Like, it's not a lot, but it's a few extra steps. And I think maybe we could do is just 2 plus proficiency modifier. You know what? Here's what we could do. We can actually change our stone durability for a bonus action to make it more so of a plus con. So we're gonna be able to defend ourselves a lot better, but protecting other people is a bit more difficult, but like something that we have to grow into. So since it'll be level 6, it'll be a +3. So at that point we'd be able to reduce 5 damage onto people flat, which is still pretty solid, assuming it's bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing. Okay, it's a very common damage type, especially at that point in the game. Like, that's only when it's starting to maybe spice things up. So yeah, change it to that. Maybe make sorcery points something that we could affect the damage on the sort of counterattack. Let's see if you can teleport. Yeah, so maybe let's look at Sorcerer real quick. Let's look at the Sorcery points real quick. Because I kind of have an idea. Alright. So let's check. 2, 3, 5, 6. Okay. Maybe you could. I'm thinking how much. Okay. Which might sound better? Putting in sorcery points to essentially try and upcast it. Like, for example, here, yeah, type something on spooky. I don't want to be like, oh, fuck you, hell. I want you to write it down. I'm just in numbers zone. I'm in a very ADHD boy who barely passed math in high school, math mode. Yeah, definitely write that down. I would love to hear your spooks. I am just also in a mode of like I am talking. Don't look at me. Do not look at me. Do not perceive me. Only hear the echoes of my mind. So what we can maybe do is the D10 is the base damage, right? The extra base, like your attack, your martial, or weapon plus D10, and maybe you invest sorcery points, you can increase the D10. So like, you know, like let's assume you're just using a longsword because you want a shield. You probably don't want two-handed weapons with this kind of build unless you really want to go to kick butts. So like, say you have a longsword, right? Which is going to be doing at most, you know, it's going to be doing a D8. Like the most you're probably going to be doing with a one-hand weapon is a D8. So that would be a D8 plus whatever strength you have. Let's assume maybe you got a +2 if we're generous, right? So that would be a D8 +2 plus D10. So like that's a good hit as a reaction. but we can burn those sorcery points, especially because that means you won't be able to cast more spells or do your meta magic. Because meta magic, I feel, is going to be very important in this kind of build, especially with the idea of quicken spell. And you'd be level 6, so like at this point, right, it would be pretty expensive to use. But someone could essentially upcast it to 4th level that way. Okay, so what we could do. Alright, so. Okay. So, we can't let them use all their sorcery points. Because if they used all their sorcery points, that would be doing. We're going to use damage dice calculator. So, if someone at level 6, like, burned all their shit, right? We are assuming this is with a, you know, longsword, right? And maybe they have a +2. Like, we're gonna go on the more low side here. And they invested all their sorcery points in this. They really don't want this person to be hit. This is like their bestie. And we boost it to D10 for each time it's upcasted. That is going to be, if we did 6, that would be 5d8. 5d10. The average is 34. Could go up to 50. Which is pretty crazy at 6th level. Last night at 1 a.m., I was still awake trying to sleep, and then I hear a knocking at my front door, so I get up and go to my bedroom window, and there's no one there. And I went back to lay down, and at 3 a.m. I heard the knocking again, so I got up to my window again. Then a voice in the back of my head just yelled, "Shut the windows, shut the windows," and now as soon as I close the windows, the bang hand slams the glass. Oh, cool! Oh, that's horrifying. Cool. Did the hand just, like, leave after that shit? Or fucking what, dude? Fuck. Like, I hope you're alright now. I'm gonna try and go back to math mode here. Alright, so maybe cap it up to half of the amount of sorcery points you have of your max sorcery points. So then, like, you can do, like, the D50 until, like, you're level 12. It left, but I said I was in high alert the rest of the night. Yeah, understandable. Alright. So, okay. I think we are... I like Stone Ages. We're gonna rework it just a little bit. We're just reworking the ability. It's a good ability. We're just reworking it. Okay. So, make number bigger. Stone Aegis. Aegis. Alright. So, at level 6, so others for durability. Do. Do. There. Time of need. So it plants a seed, like when you first read this ability, that we're gonna be able to give a similar effect to reduce damage, and also a way for us to come back and hit hard and defend them. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna carry a knife. We have my midnight shift today, just in case someone happens to walk home around 1 a.m. after the midnight shift. Oof. I'm like, I get it. Do. Bum 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 bum. Great. Fight. A symbol of your choice, because I think that's cute. Lagoing gigging. Bludgeoning. Piercing. Slashing damage done to the target is reduced by 2 plus your C bonus. Yeah, and we'll keep this this effect lasts for 1 minute until you apply Aegis another target, or if you are maybe because it states you can only put it on an ally. It's one allied creature. So now we get to the crunchy dunchy part. Hell, I think I would know if you were taken by a skin crawler, because I know, one, you have a very specific way of speaking. That is very clear that it is you. And also, I would also notice you haven't posted any pictures of dogs or any other wildlife within a week or two. I noticed something's up. So like, you're good. I think there's, or like, if I mention a bug and you don't freak out, like, in a positive way, then that I know, like, there are signs, there are red flags. Don't you worry, boss. I would know your doppelganger when he shows up. Addition. Dude, you have good luck out there, boss. Oh, you're telling me good looking out for you, okay. I was thinking like, dude, you're the one who needs the luck. attacked. Alright. In addition, when a sure within so that you can see and it is within 60 feet. Attacks your it may use the action to teleport to your bum bum ba bum ba bum. Reaction, dare I say? Yeah. Or space in 5 feet. Bum 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 bum. I'm gonna ignore if they're in the same surface, because I do kind of like the idea of enabling the player to come up with more wacky, like, reasonings, like, say, like, oh yeah, I used the stone to slide myself at sheer force, or, like, either there and there, like, I make the stones, like, rocket me up, you know, and, like, you're still gonna, like, you're not, unless you already use stone's durability, you're not gonna be able to reduce the fall damage, you know? But you could take it for the other person, like, who knows? You could do some wacky shit there, and I feel like that's, like, cool flavor. Like, 1, melee attack. And I can make 1. Do they just use the number, or do they say word? They use the word. That's interesting. Attack. It's the attacker in hit. D10. Force damage to the roll. So use sorcery points. Upscale effect. And up to half your sorcery points. Do to flexible spell casting. That will tell you what sorcery is. You need to increase the damage. That's an example In lighter news, I saw the Mario movie. It wasn't great. It was okay. Jack Black definitely carried it. I loved it that Luigi wasn't a coward for the entire movie and he had his moment. Hell yeah. I didn't see the Mario movie, but like it feels like a thing like if I got invited to like a movie night or something, or like, you know, like a movie in the park situation, like that's the ideal way. I'd probably check it out. Because like I know one time my cousin invited me to see it, I'm like, I don't know if I actually do want to see it. Because like right now I'm kind of saving money, but like also I'm thinking like it'd be nice to see a movie like once a month, you know, make it like a thing, just to get out a little bit, and also just like, hey, I would like to go out and see movies again. It's been a hot moment since I've done that. This month's movie I'm very much considering the Barbie movie because that movie just looks insane in a delightful way. Next month. Next month is, God, in a month from now, it's the final voyage of the Demeter, which I have been waiting for since April. And that's such a B movie. But yeah. But I've heard it's definitely like a movie where it's like, yeah, is it a good movie critically? Mid. But like for a lot of Mario fans or like people who just, it's one of those movies like I've heard it's more enjoyable than it is good. And I don't mean that in the sense of like the mood situation, like it's so bad it's good, but more so like, hey, people who like seeing the Easter eggs or like seeing the details and everything enjoyed it, and that's where the value comes from more so than the quality of the movie. Because sometimes to be a good movie, you don't need it to be critically good. Sometimes you just to enjoy it. Yeah, no, exactly. That's kind of the vibe check. I haven't really looked into videos about the Mario movie, but every thumbnail I see that's like the critics rated it really low, but the audience loved it. It's like, well, yeah, because like critically it's not a good movie, but that doesn't mean it's not a good movie. You know? Because you can have movies that are not great, but like also that doesn't mean you can't have fun and enjoy them. Like, what do you think all the 80s action movies were? And I'm not saying that like Mario's the 80s action movies of the day. It's more so like, look, do you think Commando or Face Off were like outstanding films of their time in terms of quality? No. They're goofy and wacky and over the top and silly. But like, people enjoyed it. They had fun. And that's why they really enjoyed it. And that's why they would give a lot of good reviews on it. Not because, oh yes, the masterpiece. Anyway. Oh. Yo! Wait, did you just see the first Spider-Verse movie? Wait, that's new to you? I don't know. Dude. Hey, I'm glad you saw it and that you are now... I hope you're mentally prepared for Spider-Verse 2, because I don't want to overhype it to you. But like, the way how I would describe Spider-Verse 1, it's like, oh, this is just a love letter to Spider-Man. These writers are having fun. And they're also happening to tell a good story on top of it. And then Spider-Verse 2 is like cracking its neck and going like, oh, okay. So you want us to tell like, okay, so now we can tell you our story now. And it's insane. Whenever movies come out, friends just tell me everything and I let them because they're excited about it. Hell yeah, I get that. I get that a lot. This fix. 11 at level 17. So like, you know, you could use reaction. So yeah, it will definitely become a lot more powerful as you go through, but also it's just reaction. Oh, the powers of stimming has forsaken you. I've caused some phantom sounds. I casted minor illusion on your phone. It'll distract you from the skin crawler. I mean, haha, funny. Alright, so okay, so we got something kind of funky for Stone Ages. I do like Stone Ages. I like the idea that it's going for, and I try to just more smooth it out. I do think the additional damage stuff could be a bit crunchy. But how funny Spider-Man 99 is on the 5 seconds. Spider-Man 99's got Miguel O'Hara sure does have a vibe. But also, I want you to know, there's a small detail, but I want you to know a very interesting fact about Spider-Man 2099 at the end of Spider-Verse 1. That is before he's gonna do dimension hopping. And Spider-Verse 2 is very much after he's been doing dimension hopping for a hot minute. Like, he's still got it, but like, it's very much in a different energy. Alright, so Stone's Edge. Starting off to level, your mastery of Earth magic allows you to add force of the elemental Earth into your spells. You can cast a spell that deals damage. Choose one creature damaged by the spell. On the round you cast it, the creature takes extra force damage to equal half your sorcerer level, which can only be used once per casting a spell. The party is rude! No, that's my little brain gremlin all the time when I do something I think is mildly uncouth. That's rude. That's rude. Escalates. Bum. Alright. So, let's see. Stone's Edge. So, we get to add a bit more force damage, which is kind of cool. Because, like, of course, nowadays, force damage is kind of more modernized in D&D. And I kind of don't like that. Because I think force damage is, like... Force damage has kind of replaced the idea of true damage. And I kind of don't like that. Because I feel like force damage is a flavor. You know, it is more so gravity or, like, just momentum. You know, like, here it kind of works, but I don't like how all the Demon Lords use force damage all the time. Dude, you will be waiting for the third one. And honestly, I hope it gets delayed. I hope it gets delayed real bad. Because I've heard some real... I kind of did think that Spider-Verse 2 was intended to be a two-parter. It wasn't. It wasn't intended to be. And it's not because, oh, it wasn't contracted that way. There was a lot of production. There was a lot of production problems. Of a lot of script rewrites throughout across the Spider-Verse. Which led animators oftentimes having to scrap and redo animations consistently. Enough so where there's not really much developed for Beyond the Spider-Verse, despite the fact that it's supposed to come out in March. I hope they take their sweet-ass time. I hope they take another year off, at the very fucking least. If it means a better movie. Because, like, holy fucking shit. Because, like, you know, I could believe this movie's starting development right after Spider-Verse 1 got a lot of money and got Oscars. Like, absolutely. I believe that. It's been 5 years. That's, like, the time it takes for an animated motion picture to be made. But, like, oh god, oh lord, I just hope production gets its shit together for Beyond the Spider-Verse. Because, like, it definitely is, like, something you see something made marvelous and you're like, it was that bad? Anyway, so for Stone's Edge, that one's kind of interesting because, again, I feel like nowadays, especially post Mordecai's Guide to the Multiverse, it kind of feels like force damage is a bit too normalized. Like, I don't like how the demon lords just all do force damage for their attacks. Like, let them do slashing or bludgeoning. Like, the weapons are clearly magical, you can have that into a factor. Like, yeah, sure, a barbarian can resist that, but, like, they also have other shit you can throw at them. You know? It's still a lot of damage. And also, the Brooch of Shielding exists anyway, so, like, you could be really goofy about that, and suddenly that item's become the most niche item in the game, to probably one of the most relevant items, because, if you don't know, the Brooch of Shielding is it's a Brooch with a shield on it, and it makes you resistant to force damage, and immune to magic missile as if you're casting shield, which I think is so funny, because it's something I imagine, like, I as a DM want to pull if I see someone having magic missile in my party, and, like, after a few sessions of some bullshit, just going, ha, you fool, he's actually immune to magic missile. He's got the Brooch of Shielding. But we already kept the extra force damage. So I don't think it's out of character to add force damage and just make it sheer momentum. So because I personally was kind of confused about the wording of the spell, I'll probably change it to be more so this will affect one creature. If this spell is an AoE, you can only target one creature. Or, no, I think once per spell, and only on one target if it is an AoE. Because, like, oh, it's only equal to half. Okay, but still, that's pretty good, because you can add, like, at this point, like, 7 additional damage, which, like, say, if you were casting Fireball, that's more than a maximum dice. You essentially went over half cast. Like, if you did a Fireball, right, and you targeted one person with the force damage, you then make it essentially, like, even if it's level 3, you make them take 66 plus 7 damage. Which is very good. Even if it's a D10, even if it's a spell that is D10s, that is still over half at that level, so I do think I will actually keep this ability the same. Because Stone's Edge is actually pretty reliable, and it's once per spell, it doesn't cost anything. That's okay. That's pretty good. Yeah, we'll keep Stone's Edge. It annoys how the internet is calling everyone a skinwalker. Is it? Is it doing that? Is that like a thing? Is that like the hip new insult now? Like, if so, kinda yikes. Like, I get why, but like I kind of get it, but like also, man, looks at the indigenous people. I'm sorry we're taking something that's like a very serious cryptid to you, like a serious spiritual creature. It's like when you throw around like the Wendigo on everything, when it's like that is a very culturally sensitive creature, to a lot of native peoples, and it's like, yeah, it's a dangerous one, but like it's still a sensitive one that like I don't fully understand what it is, but it's like I don't understand, but they've said things about it. Maybe we should shut the fuck up. They all everything in like a horror creature. Oh, yeah, because like that is specifically a creature that that shapeshifts because it has your skin. Like, I was in a D&D campaign that was taking place in the Wild West, and like, yeah, our big bad in that campaign was a skinwalker because he needed people's skin to turn into them, which is horrifying. All right, and let's see. Earthmaster's Aegis. So here, I like the idea that we can add 3 people to our Earth's Aegis. It's a good way to add more people to Stone Aegis. It gives a lot of the party a lot more resistance, especially if it is a party of 4, which is what D&D scales around. D&D is assuming that it is. Oh, are they referring to like a Skinwalker Ranch bullshit? My grandma watches that show, and it's nothing. It's just repeated nothing. Oh, it's that specifically a hound creature? I have not heard a skinwalker referred to as a hound creature. That sounds more like a chupacabra. The goat sucker. Yeah, Earth Aegis, I like the idea that it protects up to 3 people. And I would say maybe make it a use the sorcery points to spread it onto additional targets. So let's just keep this ability here as is, right? Like we'll get that and we'll add to it. Wait. That stirs. Just. Paste that. 15. Get rid of that highlight. No bold. Alright. There we go. Oh, okay. Let's see, how many sorcery points should we... Okay, so we established that I live alone. And one of my masks is in the living room now, so I'm just gonna stop talking about this. Do not leave your like are we talking like a like the COVID mask, like that kind of mask? Is it do you not normally leave it there? Oh, cool. Oh, that's concerning. Neat. Okay. Let's look at sorcerer points again. So. Oh, cool. Oh, that's always great. Oh, it's a great thing to apply people who've never under dresser. Let's see. So we already have 3 targets acquired, so maybe what we could do is make it worth 4 sorcery points to add an additional target. Ooh, maybe now we can make it within 60 feet. Then like 30 feet or something. And if we want to add an additional target to there, we can make it cost sorcery points. rewards. More sorcery points. Another. Nice sorcery points. Rest. Additional will. All dogs are howling. Oh no! Yeah, that kind of is kind of a cursed omen. Yeah, hell, I know you. I don't think you're a person who would just be like, oh no, you're gonna kill me? Oh, well, I think you would instinctually, I think right now you're in fight, not flight. I think you would punch a man who you think is remotely aggressive to you right now. Like, remotely within a 30-foot rate, within a arm's length of you, you would punch him. Alright, so let's look over the stone sorcerer reworks here. So we've kept the bonus frequencies. We just give it a better name to give us the shield and martial weapons. So we're gonna be able to have the to have a little bit of bonus AC as well as hard-hitting weapons. We're probably gonna go more for one-handed weapons because of the shield, but also if you don't, you're probably gonna have decent AC. But the main key of this build is getting big AC, decent hit points, but like enough to just survive a few hits if you're hit. Being hit should be the worst case scenario for you, not the assumption. Especially with how high your AC can be. Your AC can be up to, yeah, if you went to 5, your AC could be 21. No, your AC could be 20 this way. So, and that's assuming you don't have any magical shields. If you ever did get a magical shield that did like +3 or something, it could be up to 23, which is pretty good. Like you could be a good wall. Additionally, you gain Primordial because all of these do with metal magic. You also get Molten Earth for a good flavor, cantrip, as well as the following spells added to your spell list every time you level up and gain new magic. So you get Earth Tremor to basically create a zone of do a little bit of damage around you, but also make people prone in an area of difficult terrain in a 10-foot radius of you, and you are able to basically lock down enemies you don't want around the rest of the party. Additionally, you have Thunderous Smite to push people around with sheer force, as well as do a little bit more damage than the rest of the Smite spells at this level. Maximilian Earth and Grasp, which is very good to hold people in place for your martial attacks, or to keep some enemies away from some of the squishier people. This is a spell that'd be fantastic to these are fantastic for Quicken spell. Oh cool. Oh no! Well, at least that might be more of a local thing as opposed to you specifically. I would hope. Um, you also get branding smite, so people are not as likely to use invisibility as an escape option against you. You're gonna have erupting earth to do a much further earth tremor with significantly more damage and a twice as big 20-foot cube of difficult terrain that's going to be very hard for people to try and escape out of. Then we have Melt to Stone because I think that's kind of funny. Staggering Smite because that's just a really good smite and also just a spell to do good damage and probably the answer to solve stun. Honestly, may take staggering as the new smite or the new stun because I like the disadvantage on attacks and ability checks and no reactions. As well as Stone Shape to use your Stone Magic to be very adaptable. Godspeed, Hell. I hope you can survive the night because Jesus Christ, that sounds horrifying. Additionally, at level 9, we're going to get Wall of Stone, so we can set up very defensive walls, as well as possibly permanent ones all around, and Destructive Wave as a good, just massive area of damage, especially because you could pick and choose who gets damaged or not, which is really cool. So overall, a lot of good spells that are more so for damage, locking people down, and also trying to get that earthy flavor. We reworked Stone's durability, making your AC buff a passive thing of 13 plus con modifier, and including shields into this because that's what the original wanted, and I think that's really good. Because I think that's good because it helps the idea of the build of you having high AC and decent hit points for D6. Like ideally big hit points for your class, good AC, so you can ideally if your big AC gets a weak spot, someone hits you pretty hard, you have some way to survive some hits. I kind of like that flavor. And we've added a way instead of the hit point increase to not step on the Dragon Blood Sorcerer's toes. We allowed us to, as a bonus action, develop Hard as Bedrock or Gems as Brilliant as Diamonds to help you take hits better. When using a bonus action, you may reduce bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage by 2 plus your proficiency modifier. I think we are going to change that to con modifier because I do think that's better in this circumstance that you are able to survive more than your allies with Stone Aegis. Where Stone Aegis is much more you. Yeah, we're gonna make it con modifier. Just so you could potentially reduce a significant amount of damage, but you only have like a few rounds to do that. Because even at like 20th level, you're only doing that 5 turns for a long rest. You're not doing this every time. You're doing this when you're fucking scared. When you think, fuck, this thing can hit me, or it has hit me, and I don't want it to hit her again. Especially because it only lasts till the start of your turn. So basically for a turn, you are going to end up having this damage reduction. Especially if someone sees you as a threat, it's a good way for you to like psych yourself up and tank a few hits. And compensate for your low HP. You can just equal amount to your proficiency modifier. Then at level 6 we get Stone Aegis, where as a bonus action you can bestow others your durability and use to summon yourself in their time of need. This ability shows as an Aegis that glows in a dim, not a BIM, a dim gray light, and a symbol of your choice. Any bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage done to that target is reduced by 2 plus your proficiency bonus. This effect lasts for 1 minute until you apply the Aegis onto another target, or if you're incapacitated. In addition, you can, when a creature that you can see within 60 feet hits your protected target, you may use a reaction to teleport in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of your target. You can make 1 melee attack against the attacker. When you hit, you may add 1d10 force damage to the roll. You may also use sorcery points to upscale the effect. You can use up to half your sorcery points when using it this way. You can add it. Refer to flexible spell casting. That will tell you how many sorcery points it will need to increase the damage dice. As example, 2 sorcery points will increase it the base damage 3 to 2d10, and spending 3 sorcery points will increase it to base damage to 3d10. The extra damage increases when you reach to 2d10 at level 11 and becomes 3d10 at level 17. So basically, you get to help out your allies by carrying this effect that you have onto others and punish others as well, because I think that's really cool. You get to be sort of this like real mix of spell and sword, but using it in a more magical way of being protective. And especially because that's a very strong ability, but it's also going to be your main ability to like level like 14. Like, you're not getting much for sorcery other than that. Level 14, you get Stone's Edge. We kept that the exact same. We didn't change that at all. So that's just going to be, we can add force damage equal to half our sorcerer level onto a creature when we cast a spell once per spell. Pretty straightforward. Just like a particular hey fuck you, solid damage increase, and it's with force damage, which is solid. Lastly, we have Earth Master's Aegis. Beginning at 18th level, when you use your Stone Aegis to protect an ally, you can choose up to 3 key creatures that gain this benefit. We have changed Stone Aegis to be more of a touch thing, because I felt like it was more appropriate. In doing so, we are going to buff Earth Master's Aegis to become a 30-foot range when applying it. And if we want to add any more creatures than the initial 3 targets, we start with 4 sorcery points for that, add 5 sorcery points if we want a creature after that, and just add an accumulative +1 sorcery points per target that we want to add on to the effect. Essentially allowing us to guess we can target, like, say, I think at most if we did that, say for level 20, right? How many targets did we get at max if we did that? So 4, alright, 4, 5. Okay, you would be able to get 6 people under that effect, at most. Which means, you can get a whole D&D party that way. Like, give it a big size party, and that can be a big move until, like, you get stunned. Because, remember, it is, like, yes, it's a bonus action, but your bonus action is very valuable. So be very careful. So be very, very careful. But, yeah, I'm pretty proud of this. I like how some things actually didn't need to be changed, and when looking at it, it was much more of a, like, alright, let's look at the playstyle here. Let's look at what we need for the goal, right? The goal is to be high AC, HP decent, and reduce damage. Focus it more so on the reduced damage, and in doing so, it made Stone's durability more of like a, this is how it works for us, we are the best people to deal with it, and us sharing the power of reducing the damage. And we get like a little treat with like the idea of, you know, using the Aegis to let us be aggressive and attack those who are attacking our poor little defenseless squishy babies. And level 14 Stone Edge. But at level 18, it's like caps up like, yeah, you get to apply this powerful ability onto multiple targets. and we get to use a way for like, hey, if you want to go big and go home and use your sorcerer points, you can, and give that option. So I'm really proud of this, honestly. I really like how this one really feels like I would kind of be down to play this. You know, like Phoenix Souls, like that's a cool vision, but like this would be one I would genuinely like to really experiment with in playtesting. Because I think this is just very interesting, especially with how sorcery points work and flexible spell casting, that you are likely going to be having a few options, but doing a lot of your tricks a lot. And I'm kind of interested to see how this goes and playtest. If you are ever curious in seeing this or any other reworkings I've done for Sorcerer in particular, this wizard has been babysitting Sorcerer so much over the last week or so. You can go over to my Discord, where right now we also have a sort of redo of Phoenix Soul, which is Fire Sorcerer, and the Sea Sorcery, from the same Unearthly Kana as the Stone Sorcerer is in. So if you wanted to see how you could be a sort of fire sorcerer that has some survivability and a little bit of support built into it, highly would recommend that. Or if you want to see a debuffer based sorcerer, highly would recommend like a sorcerer that's all about debuffing and crowd control. Highly would recommend the Sea Sorcery redo. It's been a lot of fun, and starting tomorrow, for tomorrow Wednesday, I'll be doing homebrews for Sorcerer for two classes that I felt like, or two topics that I feel like should have been like looked at more, but like for some reason don't have subclasses for them, which will be the Fae and Fiends for Sorcery, and I'm kind of excited about it, especially when being very familiar. Like, okay, here's how like Sorcerer kind of seems to work, and how can I try and apply that to homebrew, and make it completely homebrew, but like keep this general formula of expanded spell list and trying at mid game use the sorcery points. And like it feels like this. I feel like I have a clearer formula for Sorcerer than I think Wizards does. I do think I may give, I don't know, I think I have a clearer vision of what I want for Fae Sorcerer. I'm kind of interested to see where Fiend Sorcerer goes, because I kind of want to make Fiend Sorcerer a bit more broad, because you could be Devil, Demon, or even Yugoloth, and I don't know if I want to balance that. But it can also be a prototype for me how I want to do, because I definitely want to rework Dragon Sorcerer as well at some point. Dragon Sorcerer needs so much rework, but also it's going to be so much of a pain. I may just ignore Gem Dragons for that, just for simplicity's sake, but yeah, I'm really proud of this. And oh dear, I see there's a lot of people coming in right when we're ending stream. Oh Yiggy! Oh Yiggy! Oh hey there! Hi there! Hello! Welcome. I'm Panaps. I'm a funny little dear wizard boy who a lot of people say I am Yigi Evergreen's clone. I was wrapping up, but here I'm gonna repeat my entire 2-hour seminar I've had of homebrewing or reworking some UA sorcerers. So over the last week or so, I've been looking over a lot of. Well, do it again. Hey, Pan, nice work. I'm glad you had a great stream. Could you do it again? I blinked. Could you do the entire? Just delete all this actually, and could you just start from the beginning? That would be great. I would appreciate it. Yeah, please repeat the entire 2 hours. I'm glad. See, I'm glad we're on the same wavelength here, Yiggy. But I will tell you the gist of it. So this is the Stone Sorcerer. The Stone Sorcerer in the UA before Xanathar. This is a long time ago. It was like 2016, maybe. This came out. Yes. No sleep. Entertain us, streamer. That's okay. I still got 45 minutes before I have to worry about actually going to sleep for real. So the idea of the original Stone Sorcerer in the UA was how do we make a martial sorcerer, a martial squishy spellcaster. For those who are maybe following the extreme and are not as familiar with D&D mechanics, sorcerers have a D6 hit dice, which is the smallest hit dice in the game. Most classes tend to have a D8 as a middle ground and a D10 if they're martial, and D12 if they're barbarian and can spend to soak up damage. So the idea of having a D6 martial character, very bold. Trust me, I know. I tried to do a close range sorcerer as my second D&D character ever because I realized Shocking Grasp was was a melee spell attack. And like it's a pretty crazy idea. So I'm gonna actually go back and forth and show you what the original was and how we changed it. So we kept the bonus proficiencies, but gave it a cool name. We gave it this cool name called Metallic Mastery. Where our first level, we gain proficiency in shields, simple weapons, and martial weapons. This allows us to get a little bit of an AC boost, with +2 AC boost with a shield. And also martial weapons gives us a lot more flexibility of what we want. It also encourages us to use more one-handed weapons, so we're probably going to be using stuff like flails or long swords, maybe even spears, or tridents. You're going to be fancy. Battle axes, most likely D8 weapons, because we can use two-handed, but we want that shield AC. We changed a little bit how the spell casting was because the original Metal Magic feature was the Warlock fashion, which if you don't know the Warlock fashion, it's essentially Wizards of the Coast going, here are some spells you could pick, but we're not going to give them to you. We're just offering them to you. You are able to pick these spells. And it's like, well, then why are you putting them on my spell list? Why can't I just have them? So we reworked it a bit and tried to focus it a bit more onto stone. So we added the Metal Magic feature. At first level, we just gained Primordial because that's very common for what we did in the rest of these reworks. Because you're elemental based, why shouldn't you have elemental talk? You gain the Mold Earth cantrip as a simple flavor. We gave the Sea Sorcery control water, and we gave it shape water, and Phoenix Sorcery produce flames, so we might as well give them the control earth cantrip, or mold earth cantrip as well. We also made it so these spells in the following table you gain when you reach these levels, and they are not count against the spells you know. So this functionally makes us have, instead of 15 spells known, 25 spells known. And these spells are just ones that are core for the flavor of your class. So here, of these spells, we have Earth Tremor, which I found is actually pretty decent for this kind of class, for this specific build, because Earth Tremor is a 10-foot radius where you cause a little bit of a earthquake that creates that forces everyone within the 10-foot radius to make a dexterity saving throw. If they fail to take a d6 of bludgeoning damage and become prone. The 10-foot radius is also difficult terrain and takes an action for it to not be difficult terrain. For a 5-foot square to be difficult terrain. So it essentially locks people in with you. It also gives you advantage on attacking them because they're going to be up close to you and prone. Especially if you cast this as when you get Quicken Spell, because this build is going to be so reliant on you having Quicken Spell. That's going to be devastating because then you can cause an Earth Tremor, get people prone, walk up to one of these prone targets, and just down smash. We also got Thunderous Smite, so that way you not only get a higher damage smite spell than Wrathful or Searing Smite, but you also get to push people 15 feet. No, I think it's 10. You get to push people 10 feet away, which is really cool, and I feel like it really shows off the idea that you are a sorcerer who's really fucking strong, magically. Level 3, get Maximilian Earthen's Grasp, which is basically Earth Hand go yoink. And it's a great spell to either to more so lock targets down, and again a great spell to cast as a quicken spell. Drop this hand, suddenly lunge up, and restrain a target, making them so then you have an advantage on attacking them, which is very nice. Additionally, we got Branding Smite because Earthbind was kind of lame for this build. So we got you another Smite, and it helps with targets who try to escape you, because no one can escape the Eternal Stones of the Earth. Level 5, you'll get Erupting Earth, which is like Earth Tremor, but with 3d12 damage, and also the radius is a 20-foot cube now. And it has a range of 120 feet instead of around you. So you really get to set up a commotion somewhere, cause problems on purpose, and maybe pick off anyone who is still out there. It takes a minute, I think, to clear off that difficult terrain. We also have Meld to Stone, because I thought that was really funny, because Meld to Stone lets you just melt, like, just go into the stone, and just only perceive time as passing. And could be really fun as a setup spell for you to just sort of have in the back of your pocket, if you want to stealth or infiltrate or whatever. I think it's kind of a fun spell, and a spell that I think players only really use if it was just given to them, more so than them going out of the way to get it. At level 7, we get Staggering Smite, which is a really good smite, and honestly a way that really inspires me to maybe change stun, because Staggering Smite does a decent amount of psychic damage. I think it does 46 psychic damage, and if they fail a saving throw, they will have disadvantage on their attack, on their next attack roll, ability check, and can't take reactions till the start of your next turn. So basically, it's as if the idea of like, yeah, someone that's getting a lot of penalties gets a decent amount of damage, and real solid. We also get Stone Shape, so we can use our magic of rocks to quickly mold something in our time of need. We get Wall of Stone, so we can have big stone power magic, you know, to just be like, I feel like that's a great way to be like, yes, I'm a manipulator of the earth until, like, you get access to Earthquake. And Destructive Wave just to be like, you are raw power, you're causing a small earthquake, you're dealing 5d8, like, 10d8 worth of damage onto people you don't like. Fucking rad. And something that you don't normally get, only paladins usually get. At level 1, you also get Stone Durability at first level. So originally what they did is they just took the Dragonborn, like the Dragon Bloodline Sorcerers, 13 AC, but changed the Dex modifier to a Con modifier. So essentially, instead of Mage Armor at will, they were like, you have this 13, this unarmored defense of 13 AC plus your Con modifier, but you have to use it as an action, and it lasts until you dismiss as a bonus action or you're incapacitated. So like the only time you wouldn't have it is if you're asleep, which is a really weird thing to be like, oh, I'm asleep, I'm a sleepy boy, my stones, they're like sinking in. It's like, well, no, that doesn't make any sense. Also, why? Like, why? And so, what we did was like, okay, we'll make it passive. And we kept the idea because shields also were not supposed to be affected to affect this AC, unlike other forms of armor. So we're like, okay. Everyone knows rocks are softer when they're asleep. Oh, fuck. You got me, Iggy. You got me. Man, I didn't think about that. Yeah, the original Stone's Durability basically was stating, like, yeah, shields are not included as armor, so that can bump your AC. So we kept the idea of, like, okay, you have 13 plus your Con modifier, and you get added shield stat. So you're getting a big amount of AC here. Like, if you invested in Con, like, say, even a +3, right? Like a little bit above average. Not assuming you roll fantastically. Or anything. Like, let's say you just got a decent amount and you just were like, got to 16. That's great. You now have 16 base AC without armor, which is as much as any character with heavy armor access, and with a shield, you have 18 AC, and you're a sorcerer. That's fantastic, because you don't want to get hit. And we took away, they originally also had you gain an additional hit point for every level that you have, which is really good, but we thought, and by we I mean me, it actually would be better to reduce damage, because one, we don't want to step on the Dragon Sorcerer's toes, and I want to rework Dragon Sorcerer, and I want to keep that in, because that's a good ability. Instead, what we need to do is, we need high AC, and we need our good amount of health that we get from just investing in con for this build to work. We need to more tough it out if we get hit. So we went into changing Stone's durability. So as a bonus action, we could develop Stone as hard as Bedrock or Gems as brilliant as Diamonds to help us take hits better. Using this bonus action, you may reduce bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage by 2 plus your charisma modifier, plus your constitution modifier until the start of your next turn. You do this equal times to your proficiency modifier. So this allows us to reduce up to 7 points of bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, which especially early game is really good. And that, of course, that's at max, right? That is assuming you invested purely in con. Even if we're going into the +3 example, that is still 5 points of bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage reduced. And that is great. That's fantastic. Because like that is a lot of damage at early level. And even if you did get up to 7, like that is some solid damage to reduce no matter what level you are. But especially when your hit dice is +6, like a d6, like that's great. But the most you're gonna get is 10 hit points. That's fantastic. You get theoretically reduce 70% of hit points you get at a level up. At best case scenario. On average, you're getting, say if we did have the +3 con, you were basically reducing the average amount of hit points you would get every level. If you had +3 con. It is pretty good for what you need. And Stone Aegis is essentially an ability that was originally you passing on a sort of ward that would reduce damage for people. So you could give it to anyone within 60 feet. It would last a minute, or until you're incapacitated, or you applied it to anyone else, and it would reduce like 2 plus your sorcerer level divided by 4 damage of piercing, slashing, or bludgeoning in that weird order. But I thought, that kind of sounds like a weird process. So we instead did it as one. I changed it to touch because I felt like that feels more appropriate for a Stone Sorcerer, of it being a bit more tactile. Even if it's not as great, it is debuffing it a little bit. And we have changed the amount reduced to 2 plus your proficiency bonus. So when you're getting this, that's 5 damage reduced onto that target. I decided not to make it as great as your own damage reduction could be, because 1, it's a bit longer term, and 2, you're applying it on others as opposed to yourself, where you know how to protect yourself better. This is more positional magic. And we kept it where it lasts for 1 minute until you apply the Aegis onto another target, or if you're incapacitated. Also, it's a bonus action, which is great. Originally, it also allowed you to teleport within 60 feet to do a counterattack on anyone who hit the person you're protecting, but also had like something like you can only do it if it's on the same surface as you. And I said, fuck that shit. I want to see what kind of weird geomancy you can do to get a point A to point B and justify the flavor, because I think that's rad. So when a creature is within 60 feet of you, when your protected creature within 60 feet of you is hit, you may use your action to teleport to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of your target. You can make 1 melee attack against this attacker. When you hit, you may add 1d10 force damage onto the roll. You may use sorcery points to upscale the effect. You may use up to half your maximum sorcery points when you cast Sway. Refer to flexible spell casting. that will tell you how many sorcery points you will need to increase the damage dice. An example would be spending 2 sorcery points will increase the base damage to 2d10. Spending 3 sorcery points will increase the base damage to 3d10. Extra damage increases when you reach. Extra damage will increase to 2d10 at level 11, and it will increase again to 3d10 at level 17. This is basically a way to encourage you to use sorcery points, because I feel like that's such a key thing about Sorcerer. Like, please, please, let me use my sorcery points in my subclass. Please. I want to use fun gimmicks. I want to make it feel like these powers that I've inherited innately let me do weird shit that only I can do, right? So this is essentially letting you burn a good amount of resources to hit incredibly hard and allow yourself to spread your tankiness onto other players and punishing anyone who is trying to attack them and make you feel powerful because you are a rare specimen of a powerful magic user who is as good with spells as they are with swords. And I feel like it's pretty rewarding, and it kind of makes you, it's like, yeah, at level 6 we would only be able to increase it to 3d10 to plus 3d10, which is still a lot, assuming you're using a longsword, right? But like, even the sorcery points tend to cap out at like 7 points, and like that would be your level 14. You can basically make it. When you're level 14, you can apply 5 more d10s, but like also at that point you're a high level and you're already doing 2d10, so make it 7 to 10 would be a big hit, but also using half your resources to do it. And it's a resource management thing. Stone's Edge is a level 14 ability that we kept pretty much the same. We didn't change this one at all because it was kind of good. It was good. So, starting at level 14, your Mastery of Earth Magic allows you to add the Force of Elemental Earth to your spells. When you cast a spell that deals damage, choose one creature damaged by the spell on the round you cast it. Target extra force damage equal to half your sorcerer level. This feature can only be used once per casting of a spell. So basically, if you casted Fireball, for example, you will add, at this point, 7 more damage onto that one target on Fireball. And for 7, it's a really good number, at least at this point, because that is, if you were doing a spell like Fireball, you're essentially upcasted it for free and then some. With it doing more damage than a maximum damage dice. You will also, if the spell is a D10, you're still doing above average hit point, average damage on that. Hell, you're doing average on a D12 with 7 damage there. And even at max level, you're doing 10 additional damage anytime you're casting a spell onto a creature, which is amazing, especially with a lot of your spells are smites or your very, very offensive spells. So you get to just sort of feel like you're tanking and you're being very offensive. Lastly, we have Earth Master's Aegis. At 18th level, you use when you use your Stone's Aegis to protect an ally, you push yourself to 3 creatures to gain its benefits. The range of applying Stone's Aegis is 30 feet, and if you wish to add an additional creature under your wards, you may. It will be 4 sorcery points. If another creature after that, 5 sorcery points. Any additional will add a further cost of +1 sorcery points per additional targets. So essentially, it would stockpile up and be slightly more and more expensive. And really, you can get up to 6 people if you use all your sorcery points to get a whole D&D party of 6 people protected under Stone's Aegis, and you would still have 5 sorcery points left over. And that is not including if you liquefy spell slots. But yeah, that's how I try to make a more tanky sorcerer, and I am really happy. I'm really happy how it ended up because it feels like something I would find really cool to play, and I would love to playtest this. I think so far I really want to playtest this or Phoenix Soul, but like go crazy. Yeah. I was gonna give this shill before when Yiggy showed up. When Yiggy was just nice and gave me a big raid because he had a lot of people who loved and supported him. But if you're interested in any kind of this kind of content of me trying to brainstorm and work with this stuff live, both tomorrow and Wednesday I will be doing homebrew for Sorcerer. I'm going to be trying to make 2 Sorcerer subclasses I feel like have been missing from 5e for a long time, and I was kind of disappointed they weren't in Tasha's. I'm going to try and make a Fae and Fiend Sorcerer respectfully, on tomorrow being Fae Sorcerer and Wednesday being Fiend Sorcerer. And unlike the last 3 Sorcerer reworks that I've been doing, we don't really have a basis to work off of, but I feel like I've gotten a really good formula of how a Sorcerer class should feel like. With first level should have a few features, one of them being, a free cantrip and additional spells they will learn. At level 6, they should be able to use their sorcery points in some way, and at level 14 and 18, just let them feel powerful, because that's usually when players end their games. Don't really give a shit about balance at level 14 and 18. Like 1 and 6, you should care about balance there. After that, don't. But yeah, I'm very interested. And if you are curious about this or seeing any other of the UA Sorcerer subclasses I have reworked, I have been pushing this a lot more since Twitter has been going on fire. So if you want to keep close on anything I'm doing, please go over to my Discord. Go to my Wizard Tower. There you will find, under a channel called the Homebrew Cauldron, you will find PDFs of both the Phoenix Soul and Sea Sorcery I've already done, as well as this probably coming tomorrow in a more polished way with some flavor text involved, in a sort of more book like a format that you would see more so in a D&D book. And I'm really excited about it. Also, since I'm chilling and wrapping things up, this is also my 2-year anniversary week, where throughout this week, of course, I'm going to be doing some more Sorcerer Homebrew, but on Thursday, I am going to be making quick D&D builds based on my pals. So if you like Yig's going to have a quick D&D build based on his lore and vibe check and things that I've seen about him. And as well as many other the V pals. So if you like me, Yiggy, or anyone Yiggy has maybe introduced you to, please check it out on Thursday at 9:30 p.m. EST. And lastly, on Friday, to officially celebrate the 2-year anniversary, I will be doing an egg lock, a Pokemon Sword and Shield, where I will be doing a Nuzlocke where all my encounters are replaced with eggs that I have gotten my good friends I made over the last 2 years. So I'm really excited about all that. And I'm very grateful for your raid, Yiggy. I would shout you out, but all the people who are on your stream came here. And that's my audience. But yeah, I'm gonna look at people. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna perceive. Okay. So this is a person I've seen. I think you would know. I've seen this person collab once with Puzzle Pulslar. Puzzle Coleslaw. When they were doing Truckin'. But they had a pretty good vibe. When I saw them, they're doing some art. We're gonna be rating a Luna Miura, who's doing some art. So we're gonna be rating a Miura. Nice. Alright, so thank you for anyone who came by, whether past, present, or future. I hope you have a nice day or evening and have something nice to look back on. Until next time, I wish you a bye-bye. If you're still watching this, it's okay, you can have me your firstborn. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. You can just hand it over to me. Oh, your first name too? Oh, please, you should know. Wait, your whole name? It's mine? Oh. If you insist, I'll take it. But only because you asked nicely.